from ScreenJunkies Studios in the heart of Los Angeles, this is Screen Junkies Movie Fights. Now your host, Andy Signore.
Hello everybody, welcome to a live edition of Movie Fights on Screen Junkies Plus. Welcome, I'm so excited for this round. We have some amazing fighters. Today we will be talking about Best Movie of the Year. We're going to finally break it down. Best Performance of the Year. I'm trying to remember what else is on there, but there's some other fun stuff, so stay tuned. Don't worry, it's really good.
You're so loud.
Oh, am I?
Can we turn my headphones down?
We didn't check our levels. I am always loud.
Oh, God. When the show started, I was like, Andy's in my head.
Now it's sorry.
I was
momentarily me down,
deaf,
JT. I'm very loud. Everyone, JT knows this. Dan knows this about me. But it's going to be a fun one, so please stay tuned. We're very excited. Let's introduce our fighters. Returning to the pit, actress, host, and New York Giant fan, it's Alison Haislip.
And old man, apparently, where I'm like, it's too loud.
Shut the volume down.
New York Giants fan, so sad. So sad this season. No more Coughlin.
Well, I'm not sad. I'm happy you're here. Welcome back. This is going to be fun.
I just made it again.
Always. You did. That's all that matters.
Haislip coming in hot to Movie Fights.
Next to her, he's coming back making his second appearance. It's Mr. Ben Begley. Welcome back.
Thank you. I'm very happy to be here.
You made it to the second episode. That means we like you.
Yeah, I know. I felt very honored, and I think I'm prepared mentally for the speed round. We'll see, because my head almost exploded the first time.
Oh, yeah.
So... let's see. Maybe I'll have a meltdown again. It'll be great.
I had anxiety for about 5 hours.
I get really red-faced during the speed round.
It's the air conditioner goes off like an hour into the show.
I'm too nervous to take off my jacket because my shirt is like one size too small. I don't have the biceps of Cody over here.
Next to him, looking at those biceps, it's Mr. Cody Decker, professional baseball player, actor, and anti-hero.
Oh, the one and only. That's me.
Look at that.
You did. Yeah.
Are you really a professional baseball player?
Yeah.
You didn't tell me I was on this with like a ringer.
Oh, yeah. He's a total ringer.
Oh,
Crazy.
Man.
Crazy.
Great. Who do you play for?
Now I play for the Kansas City Royals. I was with the San Diego Padres for a long time.
Is this for real, or are you guys messing with me?
They're legit. You're next to a Royal, man.
You live here?
Oh, he's gonna be a Royal.
It's not baseball season right now, is it?
No, it's the off season.
I don't know
That's
sports.
why he's here.
Yeah.
I have one other
That's
professional
so
baseball
wild. I've never
fan.
sat next to a professional
Friend.
sports player before.
I know. That's why I'm like, what?
Well,
can you get us
we're
tickets?
excited, guys.
Can you get us
professional
tickets
baseball.
to Dodgers games when you play them?
I played at Dodger Stadium, and the answer is no.
Oh, shit.
Oh, and
you're useless.
Thanks for having me back, by the way, because I thought I wore out my welcome on Monday Night
Raw. You came in, and one of our test shows that ended up becoming a real show, and you did a great job.
Oh, you're just saying that because it's true.
You were very fun, and we knew how big a fan you were, so I'm so excited to have you here. Thanks for always fanning on us. And
I'm super excited to be here.
Like that?
Yeah, I was wondering, just...
That's it.
All right, this is my
I'm taking
worst
the jacket
intro
off.
ever.
It's
Dan, save me on the fan cam. On the Dan cam, it's Mr. Dan Murrell.
Hi.
Hi, Dan.
Hello. I don't know if you can hear me.
I can hear you, and that's all that matters.
How's it going? I'm glad that Cody accepted my drunken invitation to come on Movie Fights at my birthday party Monday night.
Wait, really?
I was like, we gotta get you on Movie Fights.
And
so you're the one who knew him first?
No, Hal and Nick knew him, and he's Cody's an awesome dude, and he's a big.
Wait, you're like we can't know a professional baseball player, Alison?
It's weird to me. I don't do these shows with professional athletes. What are you talking about?
Yeah, we have
barely an
connections. But no, it's fun. I mean, honor to have you all here. You're all celebrities. This is amazing. This is a celebrity
in our own
edition.
Right.
So
My
Dan,
mom thinks I'm a celebrity.
the people can chime in live. You'll be watching if they're watching on Plus, right?
That is
hashtag
correct.
Movie Fights Live.
Movie Fights Live. I am logging in now because I forgot to, but I will now be monitoring on Twitter at hashtag Movie Fights Live.
And you can stay tuned for after the fight, where you'll be able to call us and Skype us in and talk to these fighters to see how the show went. So get excited. Let's do this. Before we start, I just wanted to remind everybody, if you don't know, if you're watching this on Saturday and you're in New Orleans, stop watching and come join us over at Wizard World in the Big Easy. We're going to be there doing an awesome panel.
Yes.
We're going to be doing something special with the Russo brothers at the end. They might watch some stuff with us and Captain America. So very excited. You can get all the details at, I don't have the link. Of course I don't have the link. At ScreenJunkies.com.
SJ.plus/New Orleans.
Just go to ScreenJunkies.com. You'll find it. Or Wizard World. I'm sure you'll be there. But we'll be there in the afternoon at 2:30 to 4 panel, a meet and greet at 5:30, and a fun screening with the Russo brothers at 7:30. So please, if you're in New Orleans on Saturday and you're watching this, get offline, come over and say hi to us, please. We're going to be near you. It's very exciting. We're so happy.
Are you going to eat po' boys?
Oh, yeah. We're getting lots of tweets on where to eat. We're taking this very seriously.
Yeah.
I had a 5-day bachelor party there, so I have some recommendations.
What? That's insane.
We were drunk almost the entire time.
Who died? Someone died. Someone died on that.
My liver, partially.
I played there this year. in AAA.
You keep making cooler comments than I could ever do.
And I was but he's right. If he was drunk the whole time and his liver died, I played all 3 games probably drunk, and I was awesome. You should have seen it.
I believe it. I believe it. Let's do this.
Oh God.
Let's do this. This is where we fight. Fight.
I love that mashup.
So, round 1.
Oh God. I've already lost.
No, come on, be confident. This comes from
don't know what I'm doing,
one of our
ever.
biggest fans, Meredith Loftus on Twitter, asked us the official question. It's end of year. What is the best movie of 2015? Now, remember, I didn't actually set this up, Cody. I know you've watched, but just to remind you, I'm listening to your arguments. It's about the argument. It's not about what I like. So give me passion, creativity, and facts here. And but first, we're gonna start with Allison. What was your favorite movie of the year?
Ex Machina, by far. Do I start arguing already?
You just give me an
Do I say
opening,
why?
an opener.
Okay, I say why. I mean, this is why. I'm starting off great, you guys. It was one of the few original films out this year. It wasn't, a remake of a foreign film. It wasn't a sequel or a prequel to anything. It was a small ensemble cast. And it was just so damn good. It was clever. It was creative. The acting was spectacular. It was all actors that we had all kind of heard of before, but then we finally got to see them showcased in this. And really, my biggest winning point for it is that it wasn't. It wasn't a Marvel movie. It wasn't a Lucasfilm. It wasn't any of these massive blockbusters. It stood on its own and did just as well on its own.
Great choice. Very creepy choice. Ben, what was your pick?
I'm a giant nerd, and it was Star Wars The Force Awakens. And I would argue that several reasons. It's a huge financial success, one of the highest grossing movies of all time already, with only being a month in theaters. It completely erased all of our bad memories of the prequels. It, for the first time in theaters, was an event film. I know Mad Max and things like that were big events, but this was a film where people went to theater in costume with lightsabers. There was an enthusiasm that was palpable in the crowd that I haven't felt in years. I felt like I was a kid again watching it, and it seemed like something that hadn't happened in a while. Even though it is a sequel, to me, it was hearkening back to a time where blockbusters had a lot more heart to it, a lot more technical design behind it than just CGI, and it blew me away. And like I said, critics loved it, fans loved it, and they're the hardest to please Star Wars fans. So
and
that's my favorite.
Both of your movies had 2 of the same actors in it.
Yes.
Oh yeah.
Let's hear. Is Domhnall Gleeson in yours, Cody?
He is not. Michael B. Jordan, however, is.
Sorry.
They both actually had Oscar Isaac and Domhnall Gleeson.
That's what he said
Domhnall
too.
Gleeson, even though I messed up his name, felt like the funner punchline.
Okay.
Yeah.
But yes, good.
I'm sorry.
Thank you, Dan. Do your job.
Yep, doing my job.
Cody, what'd you pick?
I hate the fact that I've been revealed as an athlete and I'm immediately going to a sports movie, but I'm going immediately to Creed.
Wow.
A movie that we already heard tugging at your nostalgia with Star Wars and being an event. This movie was a movie that when I heard about, I dreaded. I thought it was the worst idea I'd ever heard in my life until I saw that first trailer. All of a sudden, oh my God, this movie is Fruitvale Station with boxing scenes and a potential ending that doesn't rip my soul out. This is the only movie I saw all year that hit everything nostalgia on me. The whole time, the only thing that was bad about the movie was I ripped my shoulder out from fist pumping too often. The fighting scenes, arguably the best boxing fighting scenes I've ever seen on film. Incredibly impressively shot. Beyond well acted, rich young characters. Tessa Thompson playing Bianca as a musician, girlfriend, phenomenal. Michael B. Jordan just bringing the heat. And let's face facts, Sylvester Stallone playing Rocky in maybe his best performance of his career, which, by the way, Stallone is not a slouch. Copland was fantastic. So I just think everything about this movie just was perfect to me, and I cannot wait. It was a full, complete movie and still left it open for a sequel that I want to see.
All right, guys, fight it out.
Do I go first?
Whoever.
Okay. I'm going first then. The 2 points that both of you brought up was this nostalgia factor, and I just think that that's a scary place that Hollywood is going, that they're banking on the audience only wanting to see things because it's stuff from their past. And I think that the fact that Hollywood could make a movie that had no nostalgia to it, that was a brand new property, and that it did just as well as it did and was so critically acclaimed, it just shows that it's a better film. Because the question is, oh no, it's the best movie. Sorry, it's not the best film, but still, you know what I mean.
You can go there.
Yeah, I mean, Ex Machina is a film. I'm not going to say that Creed isn't. I haven't seen Creed, but it does seem like it's a film. Star Wars is a movie.
A film.
That's a blockbuster.
film.
But that was made for the fans, and the fans loved it, and I loved it. But Ex Machina, it being its own thing and doing just as well as these other, I mean, obviously didn't make $1 billion like Star Wars, but it was a success. Just to me shows that it is the best movie because it didn't have anything to rely on. It stood on its own.
I absolutely loved Ex Machina, but here's the issue with it. Just because it didn't hit any nostalgia points, I don't think makes it the best movie of the year. I mean, I go to a movie, I want to just be thoroughly entertained. I want it to hit in every note. I want it to make me laugh, cry, everything.
But Ex Machina does that.
It does.
But it doesn't.
But it
fall,
didn't. But my shoulder felt
nostalgia.
perfectly fine because I didn't fist pump the entire movie.
Well, there were no boxing scenes.
But
Sorry.
in Creed, I held my girlfriend's arm during the final boxing thing because I wasn't sure if Creed was going to win or lose, and I really gave a shit. I needed this fight because I was going through the fight with him. When he got bruised and knocked down, I got knocked down. Ex Machina, I mean, I liked it, but here's the fact. I mean, if a movie with Oscar Isaacs and
Domhnall Gleeson.
Domhnall Gleeson.
Yeah.
That was my second favorite movie that those two were in that year. I mean, that's just the fact.
I would argue against both these points where Ex Machina, yes, it was an original property, but the idea itself isn't necessarily, it's an original take on an idea that we've seen 100 times before. I loved it, don't get me wrong, but we've seen AI, we've seen what it means to be human, what it means to be a machine. You can go back to RoboCop for that. You can go back to HAL 9000 in 2001: A Space Odyssey. But for me, and with with Creed, the issue for me why Star Wars is a better film, not only from the scale and from budget standpoint and how much money it made. If you're looking from a financial standpoint, Star Wars is clearly the best movie of the year, but that's financially. If you're going from structurally or what they had to dig themselves out of, the Rocky series, other than Rocky 1 and maybe Rocky 2, the rest get very sketchy, and it's not a hard bar to jump over.
Do we
now,
have
don't
to talk
get me
about
wrong.
the prequels?
I cannot agree with you at all. Rocky Balboa was fantastic.
No,
I agree.
I was
Rocky
getting
5
there.
never should have happened.
I was getting there, though. What I was getting there is that Rocky Balboa then raised the bar, and so it just being slightly better than that makes Creed amazing, whereas Star Wars had defeated fans' hopes with the prequels, and now J.J. Abrams has this massive undertaking to try and bring forth the new trilogy and set us forward for another 20 movies to come.
But the thing is that even if Star Wars, even if The Force Awakens was terrible, it still would have been the event movie that you called it, but that doesn't justify... it being an event movie doesn't make it a good movie.
No,
That's
in
just
fact,
all the past that leading up to it. So I don't think you can even count that towards
say,
why it's the best movie.
Then not even just being an event movie. I would say that structurally, giving you a little bit of the old with a whole new set of characters, the fact that we have a strong female lead that is not just deemed a female for once, where Rey is one of the best characters. When I hope I have a daughter someday, and I'll make her watch this because Rey is amazing. To have a female lead and an African American lead, which you also have in Creed, I get, but it just, to me, it takes all the old characters and gives fresh new voices to a whole new set of
Well, how
characters.
about a incredibly successful movie that doesn't have a single real name in it?
I would argue that Oscar Isaac was totally a
not
name
at
before.
that point.
Here's what I would
definitely
actually...
not. No, that's the movie
something
that put him on the map.
I would argue he was in it.
I don't know.
He was on the verge, and then people saw Ex
I
Machina.
mean,
and were
didn't
like,
you see
yes.
Sucker Punch? Anyways.
Was he in Sucker Punch?
Yeah, he was.
He was in that. I call that movie Inception for dumb people.
I just call it Sucker Punch. For you, I mean... Also, the thing about Star Wars that did bother me, one thing, I mean, I love Star Wars. Who doesn't love Star Wars? But you did say that it erased the prequels. No, it didn't. Nothing will ever erase the prequels.
Nope.
And Hayden Christensen and Jar Jar Binks and Naboo and every ounce of CGI that haunts my dreams to this exact moment right now.
What about sand?
What about Rocky 5? Go for it.
What a great quote.
No,
Anyways,
is that seriously the name of it?
Rocky 5.
No, that was
Go
not
for
the title. It was simply the quote of the movie.
Sure,
and
okay.
I'm not saying it was a great quote. I'm not here to argue Rocky
Was it a
5. It's
Nike
awful.
movie?
But I want to also point out Oscar Isaac. I mean, that my one issue with the Star Wars movies was that they had bringing on these new characters and they did not develop enough of them. The one thing that I really wanted more Oscar Isaac. He was a character that the movie opened up with. He disappeared and no one explained that he just survived.
They did not use Oscar Isaac to his full capability, unlike Ex Machina, where he was a rock star.
You have to realize we're setting up the world for multiple movies to come, for a new trilogy. So these characters are going to get more life. But you're getting Han Solo in this was handled so well. I won't do any spoilers.
I won't deny that.
That's one of the best performances I've seen Harrison Ford give since the original Star Wars. He had
all right. Here's what I'm just checking in because I want to wrap this up. But so what I need,
40 minutes on this.
There's no disputing all three of these films are great.
Mm-hmm. Right.
So what I need to hear from you in your closings here, as we wrap up, is why is it better than the other two?
Okay.
And whoever wants to start can go ahead.
Well, I'm going to say Creed because he said
he chose it.
right there off the bat, the movie was setting up. Yes, some characters were a little underdeveloped, but we're setting up a series of movies. There were 6 Rocky movies. We're trying to set up for possibly 17 Creed movies. Creed was at the very beginning a perfect movie to stand alone. It had a beginning, middle, and end, and it is satisfying from the every aspect of it. But it opens up to another, to a sequel. It completely lends itself. As for Ex Machina, I really, really enjoyed it. But like he said, I felt as though I was done better when it was RoboCop.
I think best movie, the criteria for best movie is what was critically, fan-based, and financially successful. To me, Star Wars knocked all 3 of those way out of the park, destroyed both of these films in all 3 of those categories.
Okay, first off, I don't think you can compare Ex Machina to RoboCop in any way, shape, or form, besides the fact that there is a vaguely humanistic robot. But in RoboCop, he's a person who becomes a robot. He's not built, and they're totally different. There's no comparison between RoboCop and Ex Machina, all right? But I just think in this day and age, what Hollywood needs is more original ideas because everything is becoming sequels, prequels, massive series and epics of films. And Ex Machina doesn't need a sequel. It shouldn't have a sequel. It doesn't need a prequel. It is its own film, and that's all it needs to be with a fantastic cast of actors who are all on the verge of breaking out. It didn't need a headliner. The idea on its own stood up for itself, and it was just as successful.
Any reasons why? I get that note, but against those two?
I just think because they're based on already existing properties, and they didn't... The Force Awakens was fantastic. It's not better than the originals. Creed was fantastic. It's not better than Rocky. It was just... They're just continuations of already existing great films. They didn't do anything on their own.
That was an intense round.
Yeah.
That was kind of hard because I really loved all 3 of these movies.
So
I'm sitting here trying to pick apart.
Ex Machina is in my top 5 too. Yeah, all of those are in my top 5.
Dan, while I try and wrap my head around this, got any cleanup?
Sure, yeah. Oscar Isaac played Blue Jones in Sucker Punch.
I don't even know who that is.
There's a lot of love for a lot of different movies on Twitter. The big one was, of course, Mad Max. Joe Bailey, I'm sorry if I got your name wrong, asked me to make it
John Bailey, Dan?
Not John Bailey. Asked me to make it a fatal 4-way and jump in and fight Mad Max, but I did not. Zachary Martin, Cody is letting you off the hook. He says it doesn't matter whether you're an athlete or not. Creed was a really good movie. And at knee TJ is actually helping me out, saying that Gaelic says the M and the H is silent. So it's Donal Gleeson is how you pronounce it.
Oh, like not Donald. Donal Gleeson.
Someone would take the Revenant. We really would have had a Donal Gleeson.
Donal Gleeson.
Donal.
Centric. Yep, that's it.
Like Donald Logue.
A little bit, yeah.
No, not like that at all.
All right.
That was
just so I can get through this quickly. Star Wars is out because I think they got you the best of it. It's setting up. Really good job. You didn't hit me on the expectations and some things that I think you could have done more of. So sadly, it's between Creed and Ex Machina. My struggle was I was looking. I just needed something more than the original because you were winning for me by saying it was original, but I didn't hear more than that. And then you were the one who sort of, Cody, broke down the fact that it was a setup, as well as some of the other points. The standalone, it does stand alone on its own, even though it's based on the franchise, which you're saying yours was. I just heard a little bit more fighting words from Cody, so giving him the slight edge. So Cody gets the first point.
I quit. I'm never coming back on this show again.
This always happens. She always loses the first round, and then she ends
because I make the most logical arguments, and then I get penalized.
You've won.
No, I haven't.
You have?
No, I've never won.
Well, you haven't.
I make logical arguments, and then I get penalized for not standing up and screaming them because I think they stand on their own.
I'm screaming next round.
Could I point out that I won that round?
Thank you.
You were very close. It was very close.
Yeah, guess what? Remember
I
2001
tried to help
Space
you at
Odyssey?
the end. I asked for more, and you gave me the original at the very end. You still did. But you still less left.
All right.
It was good. I like it. Feisty.
It's okay,
I'm
Allison.
done.
Violence.
I'm done. I don't care anymore.
I feel you, Allison.
Yeah.
I hear you.
I'm still really bitter from 2001 Space Odyssey losing to fucking Spaceballs. So
That was a big one.
Oh boy.
Round 2. So the best movie of 2015, but now it's time to decide the best performance of 2015. All
you're
right?
skipping orders.
Sorry, that's what I have
go.
here. Is that okay?
No, I'm not. You know what?
Yeah.
I'm stepping out of this round because I'm not going to win.
You are gonna win.
Oh, no.
Nope, I'm done.
No, you better.
Nope.
Better not jump out.
Nope,
I don't know.
I'm done.
Ben,
I'm done.
who are you picking?
Okay. I picked Walton Goggins from The Hateful Eight.
Okay.
Am I telling you now, or are you just writing it down?
Yeah, let's hear a little bit
okay.
why.
Okay, for me, The Hateful Eight in general is just an actor's movie. The whole thing, it's basically like a play. And Walton Goggins in it, he starts off as kind of this bumbling idiot that I never believed was actually, I don't want to spoil stuff, but I never believed would be a sheriff. And he goes from this bumbling idiot to kind of this menacing bad guy to then a hero. He just has so many levels and layers to him where there's a sorrow to him, there's vulnerability, there's humor, there's a darkness. I don't want to say too much because I know some people haven't seen it yet, but to me, it was the most layered performance of the year, definitely.
Cody, what are you picking?
I'm almost mad we're going this round right away because I'm going right back to Creed. I'm going Sylvester Stallone. I mean, he took a character that we have seen so many times in so many, basically the same exact way. And I feel not only did he knock it out of the park, he took it to a whole new level. He was surrounded by young, talented, hungry actors in Michael B. Jordan and Tessa Thompson who gave great performances. And not only did he step up his game, he stole every scene he was in. It's a character backwards and forwards, and yet he somehow peeled back more layers to a character that we already loved and made me love him more.
Allison.
Sorry.
Come on.
Come on, please.
Change your answer. Go ahead.
No, don't change your answer.
Donald Gleason and Ex Machina.
Yes! Yes! Tell us why. Is it Domino?
Donald. We just had this discussion.
Donald. There's an M in there, isn't there?
Oh my gosh, did you not just listen to what Dan said 30 seconds
He
ago?
never listens to what I say, no.
It's silent.
The M and the H is silent.
Tell us why.
Very strange.
Well, because he was in the best movie of 2015. And because he was in a movie that didn't have any headliners. And because the movie did as well as it did. And he was this character. And also, this is a spoiler alert. If you haven't watched the movie, you should watch the movie. I'm giving you plenty of time. Don't listen to what I'm about to say. But he plays a character that you root through the whole film. He is your protagonist. And you support every decision he makes. And at the end, he gets screwed. And you still love the movie. It's so rare to watch a movie where you watch your hero fail at the end, and he literally is doomed for the rest of his life, and you still love the film. Most of the time you're like, that was the worst film ever. But because of the way he played this character, you support it. You support the whole thing that happens, and you're with him the whole way. And that takes an incredible actor.
Great.
I'm going to lose.
Don't say that. Don't say that. Don't think that. All right, guys, why?
Okay, I would argue that Domhnall Gleeson's performance is great, but the getting screwed at the end is a structural thing, not necessarily a performance thing. I would argue that Sylvester Stallone is incredible in Creed, but he has far less screen time than Walton Goggins, which I know is not necessarily something to argue. But to me, Walton Goggins, it's 8 guys in a cabin for the entire movie. You are watching him he has countless speeches, he has so many turns, you're not sure if he's good, bad, or in between. You know both of these characters and their motives the entire time. You know Sylvester Stallone's motives. His motives are very on the surface. His interactions are very heartfelt and all that stuff. But to me, Walton Goggins is playing so many more layers and so many more subtleties and things that keeps you guessing. You don't know where he's coming from at any point until the very end of the movie.
See, I really disagree because Stallone's motives in the movie consistently change, especially early on. He's dealing with a lot of inner turmoil, whether he wants to get back in this racket, whether he wants to stay out of this racket. Everything about it, he's making split decisions. He doesn't have it doesn't even seem like he has a goal in the movie, and it just consistently changes. Everything kind of gets sprung upon him, and he handles it how a borderline dim-witted ex-boxer would have actually handled it. And I thought it was just a supremely strong performance. As for I'm just gonna say Larry Gleason.
DG, let's call him.
Okay, we're gonna say DG. He was phenomenal in the movie. The movie was really good. He was good.
Because it was the best movie of
But
2015.
here's my one problem. When I walked away from that movie, I talked about Oscar Isaac, not DG. I thought Oscar Isaac stole every scene he was in.
It's interesting because I was debating on whether to choose Oscar Isaac or DG. And to me, I've just seen Oscar. I loved Oscar Isaac in Ex Machina, but I didn't feel like that was his crowning achievement. To me, Ex Machina was the reason we started paying attention to DG. He had that one amazing episode of Black Mirror, and that's what kind of perked me up to him as an actor. Because, before he was like Bill Weasley in the Harry Potter movies and whatever, and that's when I was like, oh, this guy's good. And then I saw him in Ex Machina, and I was like, oh no, this guy's fantastic. And I think it's because he stood up and held his own with Oscar Isaac. I kind of have to rule out Sylvester Stallone, not because he's not incredible, but because he already played the character. I understand that he's now older, but he's playing a character he already played, just older. So there's a little bit of like easiness in that, I want to say. I don't want to say that because that's discrediting him. But you know what I mean? Like, he didn't have to go into a film and create a whole new character that people needed to fall in love with. People were already going to love him in that movie, and he just lived up to the expectations.
I do think that's a really good point.
Yeah.
But I also think there is a massive undertaking in actually taking that character that you love already and bringing something completely new to it. Not just the fact that he's old, but that he's beyond deteriorating as a human being.
Is that far of a stretch from Sylvester Stallone from where he used to be as this Adonis action hero to this kind of broken down HGH filled old man? It's like, for me, that's not that big of a stretch for him. And also, also your point with Oscar Isaac being the one you walked away from. I walked away from Ex Machina being blown away by Alicia Vikander.
Oh yeah, her too.
She to me,
I'll be honest,
steals
I was just debating between the three of them which to choose.
So for me, the reason why Best Actor of the Year doesn't go to DG is because Alicia Vikander steals that movie and just blows my mind and had me going, do I side with her? Do I not? What's going on?
Yeah.
And I feel like Sylvester Stallone, because he's playing something so close to himself, it's not as far of a stretch as Walton Goggins, I keep saying Walton Goggins, who goes through this massive arc that none of these other characters go through, where not everybody here has seen it, but he goes through hoops as this character that you don't see coming, and his alliances shift, and it always keeps you guessing. I feel like I keep talking in vague statements. I don't want to ruin it for you.
As far as The Hateful Eight goes, I see that as a far less undertaking in his character because it's a massive ensemble piece where everyone has basically the same amount of screen time, and I didn't really see the massive amount of character development in him, of all this changing in character.
I gotta be honest, I will say that by the end of Hateful Eight, I did really enjoy Walton Goggins' performance. At the beginning, I really didn't.
Yeah.
I felt like he actually stood out, and I was like, what is happening? Like, to me, it felt like he was in a different movie than everyone else. Then it's sort of like blended in a bit more, and by the end of it, I was totally rooting for him, but for some reason at the beginning, he actually, I remember thinking, well, this is not even because you chose him, when I was watching the movie going like, what is this guy doing? He stood out, like took me out of the movie for a bit. I don't know if that's necessarily on him or how movies are edited, you never know, but like, it was... At the end of Hateful Eight, if you took the second half of Hateful Eight, yes, I can understand your choice. The first half didn't do it for me.
I disagree. He's basically this hillbilly nobody who's become a sheriff by default and grows from this bumbling idiot to a person who respects the law through all these violent acts that happen. And I just think he has the best arc.
Final thought, Cody.
Final thought? He's Rocky.
Oh, we don't all get a final thought?
Well, I was letting the last rounds count.
Oh, I didn't realize that was our final thought.
I'm trying to... This is tough. Dan,
this is a tough round.
Anything there to add or from the fans watching?
Well, just a quick note. We have a very large fan base in the UK that would like for us to know going forward that neither Hateful Eight nor Creed are currently released in that country. So we should be careful.
Good job, Ben. You did
Good
good job.
That was a hard thing to argue because I'm like, don't tell anyone the ending.
And there's widespread support for all of your choices on Twitter. One guy, though, Andrew at Chico S. Loco on Twitter, also mentioned an option that I think has been overlooked by a lot of people, which was chose Jason Mitchell as Eazy-E and Straight Outta Compton.
Oh man,
It was good.
I'm mad at myself for that.
I just haven't thought about that.
I'd like to point out that I'm still not mad at myself. My choice was correct.
All right, based on the
you.
arguments.
I'm so nervous.
Can I have whiskey in my glass instead of water?
Sure.
I feel like that's the only way I'm
Sure, we can figure
surviving the
that
rest
out.
of the
Ken
show.
does.
Ken has whiskey, doesn't he? Always has whiskey.
I got one right here.
Basically, it was all tight, but I think Allison had some really stronger arguments against the other two.
What?
I was actually very impressed.
You were doing this to keep me in the game, and I accept that.
No, trust me, I wouldn't do that. I love
call
you, but I don't
BS
do
on
that.
this.
I like that you went up and called out that Stallone's was a little easy. You
Yeah.
did go there, and I think you said it fairly, and it's true. It's easier to step into that glove again than to start something new.
Pun
and I
intended.
think
Boxing gloves.
they both sort of got you. You had a good point, and you almost lost because you brought up Alicia Vikander, who's fantastic in that movie.
You know,
also,
the
why
ol-
you lost round one because you didn't even mention her, Allison, for the record.
Well, I'll be you know why? I thought about this. I actually put thought into this.
But
okay?
you should have mentioned her performance when you were talking about the best movie.
I should have, but I was scared
don't-
that people were going to call out
I
the
could-
CG with her. That's
well,
honestly
I thought it looked
the only
great.
reason.
I didn't
No,
even
I
know
did
that.
too, but people are like,
She was great,
on
but
CG. I don't know.
based on your arguments against them and what you were saying about the Walter Goggins character,
And
you
because
all
you
had
want
a
me
lot
to
of
come back on this
positives.
show.
No, I don't. Well, no, I do, but no, come on. Based on those punches back, that's all I had to pull from because I didn't see you hit her as hard. She got the point.
We told you both other actors in the movie were better than her. What more punch do you
Oh,
need?
this job's tough. They're hating me on. I'm sure, Dan.
I think you're doing a phenomenal job.
Round three.
Can I just say, as a fact checker, I'm
Yes.
glad that Walton Goggins and
Yeah.
Donald Gleason are now in our rearview mirror.
Yeah. Did anyone choose them for anything else going up?
All right, round three. Leonardo DiCaprio just gave a great performance in The Revenant, and he also said he wouldn't rule out being in a superhero movie. So that got us thinking. And Mutant Chop Killer.
Mutton.
Sorry, Mutton Chop Killer. That makes much more sense.
Yeah.
Mutton Chop Killer at
Mutton
Twitter.
chop. He's got mutton chops.
We're adjusting his question slightly, but what movie franchise would you like to see Leonardo join? So let's
okay.
put him in an existing popular franchise because he hasn't really done that.
Yeah.
He's shied away from it. And he apparently was very close to being Anakin Skywalker. He was close to being Spider-Man and James Cameron's Spider-Man. So he's had some choices. He's never really done it. Let's say we had our dream wish to put him in one. What we pick? And Cody, we are starting with you.
Okay, well, I feel as though there's a lot of obvious choices here. I actually struggled a little bit on this one. This was the one where I really thought hard. He's very often playing his accenty characters. He learned a new accent last week, so he's going to be a Boston guy for the next 5 movies. Or he's going to have in Catch Me If You Can, he's going to have himself a Brooklyn accent that he'll go in and out of throughout the entire movie. But I want him to do something completely different, something that he's never done before. And I thought, why not put him in a Police Academy movie?
Why not, indeed?
Yes, have him.
I can think of several reasons.
You can either look at
JT.
that. You can either have him starring as the Steven Guttenberg role, or even better, put him as a secondary character, something where you can just not have the weight of the movie on him, such as Zed from Police Academy 2, played by Bobcat Goldthwait.
Oh my God, he's my favorite character ever.
Think about that. I understand that that's a sequel, and but it's a
franchise.
reboot franchise. I feel as though you can go ahead and throw him in any possible role. And think about it. He doesn't have to put on weight. He doesn't have to be brooding and miserable for 2.5 hours. He doesn't have to grow a gross beard. And he doesn't have to get mauled by a bear.
But I think he likes doing that
I
stuff.
know, but he needs to stop and
Will he
learn.
make silly sound effects with his mouth?
Yes, he should. I think he can do. I think he can do anything in this type of thing. And you know what? He doesn't have to have the weight of losing another Oscar to Daniel Day-Lewis on his back from this movie. He can just simply go right out there and play a fun character and do something that's just entertaining. And he doesn't have to get all hopped up on Quaaludes. And I just feel as though it would be such a change of pace that I would welcome it with open arms.
Allison, what are you picking?
Okay, I picked something maybe a little bit more sensible, although I sort of appreciate Police Academy just being brought into the conversation in general. I would like to see him in Mission Impossible. And I thought of this because when I was thinking of franchises, I was like, what franchise do we want to see continue? But that's a great photo of him.
Departed.
Yeah, what franchise do we want to
Departed.
see continue, but probably can't continue for a long time with the actor currently in it? And even though Tom Cruise is probably immortal, I just think after a couple more Mission Impossible movies, we're not going to be able to see Tom Cruise. We're gonna just need a younger guy, but we can't go too young. Like, no one wants to see like Zac Efron in the Mission Impossible movies. So Leo, I think, kind of fits that sweet spot. And the reason I thought that is because in this past Mission Impossible movie, Tom Cruise did the stunt where he's like holding on to the side of the plane for dear life, and they got that amazing shot. And I was like, there's not many actors out there who would be willing and capable to do that, and I do think Leonardo DiCaprio would be one of them. And because I think of one of Leonardo DiCaprio's strong suits, much like Harrison Ford and Tom Cruise, who are, you can say Harrison Ford and Tom Cruise are easily two of our biggest action stars out there. They do such a good job of not, how do I put this? They're so good at what they do in the movie, yet you see their humanness in it. You see when they are not confident. You see where they have moments of, oh shit, in them. Both of them do that. And I can think of Tom Cruise in the last Mission Impossible movie when he's up on the rafters and he's fighting the really tall guy, and the guy stands up and he sees how tall the guy is. He's like in the fight, and then you see him go, oh shit, and then he gets back into it. Harrison Ford does it all the time of having moments of being like, I'm into it. Oh God, what's happening? Okay, I'm back into it. And that the only other person I can see really pulling that off is Leonardo DiCaprio. He is great at that kind of stuff. So, Leo, Mission Impossible.
Ben, what are you picking?
Similar genre, different role in it. I was thinking, I don't see Leonardo DiCaprio in many franchises because I think he's too artsy of an actor. But I was like, the one franchise I think he could hop on for maybe a one-off movie or a couple would be a Bond film, and not as James Bond or something ridiculous as that, but as a Bond villain, like the opposite side of the same coin that Bond is, where he's like the doppelganger, the evil doppelganger of Bond. He has all the suaveness of James Bond. He could be the American doppelganger, where it's basically like his Great Gatsby character, but a villain. And I think that he could go toe to toe with all of James Bond's suaveness and swagger, and just be a really cool adversary with the same style and panache as James Bond. But just what if James Bond went down the other path? Instead of becoming a super spy, he became a super villain. Because all the villains, I feel like, even Christoph Waltz in the last one, they're very mustache twirly and boring, and I think Leo could bring kind of a gravitas to it, more along the lines of what Javier Bardem did, but in a kind of matching Bond and suave stature. That's what I think.
Well, my biggest issue is these decisions are basically the same exact argument. It's the same genre. There are two movies this year that came out, and they're basically the same movie. And which I never thought they were. They were both Rogue Nation and Spectre.
I won't argue that.
Were basically the same exact movie. And surprisingly, I liked Mission Impossible more than Spectre, which I did not expect to happen.
Yep.
With him joining a Bond movie, I'm so afraid it's going to turn into the Max Zorn's villain of A View to a Kill. The whole time anytime he does anything, when you watch View to a Kill, you're like, oh, it's Christopher Walken. I don't want that when I'm watching a Bond movie. I don't want to sit here watching a Bond movie and go, oh, it's Leonardo DiCaprio. I want to get lost in more of one of his characters. As for him being his equal, American equal, they tried that already with Jinx and Die Another Day, and that did not work out well, and I don't see it working out well again. As for him in Mission Impossible, I'm sorry. I feel like they've already kind of started setting up the younger guy in Jeremy Renner. I feel like it's already being... what you're saying is not a bad idea.
They kind of copped out of that.
Well, it's because it was a bad idea, and that's why they're kind of exiting it. And I don't think just by doing the same exact thing, by implementing...
But I wouldn't want it to be like having Leo... Like, I don't want Tom Cruise to hand the torch to Leonardo DiCaprio. I want it to start fresh, reboot the series. Like
reboot him as Ethan Hunt, though, again?
Well, here's the thing that's interesting to me. I legitimately could not remember the name of Tom Cruise's character in Mission Impossible. And I do think that is the biggest difference between him taking over my franchise as opposed to the two of yours. One, you guys want him to both be secondary characters in this franchise, and there's no way Leonardo DiCaprio is going to step into a franchise as a secondary character. You did. You're like, just put him anywhere.
Anywhere.
He could be a police dog for all you care. But that's my point. If Leo is going, because I'm on a first name basis with him. If Leo is going to join a franchise, it needs to be bam with Leonardo DiCaprio. Like it has to be him, because the whole point of him taking over a franchise is to be in it for multiple films. I mean, obviously he can do that with Police Academy, but he's not going to do it as a secondary character. If he's a Bond villain, he gets 2 at most, 3 if you're lucky.
I think that's
But my point with bringing the name with Ethan Hunt is that when I think of Mission Impossible movies, I think Tom Cruise. I don't think Ethan Hunt. But when you think James Bond movies, you think James Bond. And when you think Police Academy, I don't think any of the characters' names. I just think of this motley crew of misfits.
Who could all be played by Leonardo DiCaprio.
That should be. If you had said Police Academy with 9 Leonardo DiCaprios, like he just Tyler Perry's the movie.
Perfect example. Why not that?
Final thoughts around you. Go ahead.
I didn't even get one thought yet. But here's the thing. Here's the thing. Mission Impossible, when you just said it yourself, Mission Impossible, you think Tom Cruise. So for me, having
switch
him,
it over, and I'll think Leonardo DiCaprio.
No, having him, Tom Cruise is Mission Impossible. And Ethan, and also Leonardo DiCaprio jumping onto a franchise, to me, this question's ridiculous as it is, because he would never do multiple movies. He's this artsy actor who loves working with Scorsese and all these good things. And I think that he wouldn't want to sign on to multiple movies. The safest bet for him to being in a franchise would be a Bond villain. He could chew up the scenery. He could get maybe a little hammy, but he would have fun doing it. And I think the Police Academy, I think that's just a joke answer, I hope. It seems like that's, like maybe he'll do that as an SNL sketch, live from New York at Saturday night. Because
and he does all 9 characters.
Here's the thing: if we're analyzing this from a legitimate, like Leonardo DiCaprio would actually do this standpoint,
he would actually do Mission Impossible.
I don't think he would sign on to 8 movies because then his career is so limited from that standpoint. And also, I think creatively it wouldn't interest him. And then I think from Police Academy, the issue is that it's just ridiculous, and I don't think they would ever reboot that. That's like saying Leonardo
21
DiCaprio.
Jump Street happened twice.
That's like saying he's going to be in Ace Ventura 3.
Who could they get to play Bond opposite Leonardo DiCaprio's villain? No one.
Well, he's going to overshadow Bond.
Yeah, exactly.
What is
That's
the
a good
answer
point.
to that?
Okay.
Which Bond are you thinking?
Go.
It looks like I'm getting emotional from this answer, but an eyelash just jumped into my eye and is stabbing away, but I'm going to answer anyways. So who could go Tom Hardy could easily go toe-to-toe.
No way. No one.
He's already doing it.
I got yelly. No, Tom Hardy would 100% go toe-to-toe. He just did it in... Sorry, I just got yelly. That was exciting.
Keep going, yeah.
So Tom Hardy already went toe-to-toe with him in Inception. His character's arguably way more interesting than
you have to root for Bond.
Yes, which you
and
would.
no one's going to root for Tom Hardy over Leonardo DiCaprio.
No one's doing it in The Revenant right now.
They won't do it.
Okay, you guys. Here's the thing. Tom Hardy in Inception.
Now, if you told me
is as
Leonardo was
and
James Bond and Tom Hardy was the bad guy, hell's yeah. But you're not going that way.
No, I'm telling you that Tom Hardy in Inception has the swagger and the charm of Bond. He could easily and probably will be James Bond.
Yeah.
I think that him and Leo squaring off together would be perfect.
But you would still
is Tom Hardy the front runner for Bond now, Dan? You'll tell me when you...
Well, Daniel Craig is still not officially out because
but let's be honest.
Christoph Waltz says he wants to come back, but only Daniel Craig comes back. It's a mess.
Idris Elba.
I got so mad that round. I'm sorry.
That
exploded out of me.
Thoughts.
Oh, I thought I already did my final thoughts.
Oh, well, you don't
I
have
forgot
to
what I'm
anymore.
arguing. Mission Impossible.
That's not a good sign.
Sorry, I was thinking about Idris Elba and my brain went blank.
He does that.
No, I think I'm the only one who's put up an actual franchise that you could see Leonardo DiCaprio in Mission Impossible. I think that's the only thing that you could see, in that he's the only one who could take over the franchise from Tom Cruise. He's the only one we would want to see take over the franchise from Tom Cruise.
Something different. Police Academy, completely different, completely non-brooding, and something fun that everyone here would go see immediately.
There's no brooding in Mission Impossible.
Whew, Dan?
That was intense. Couple things.
I got fired up. Sorry about that, guys.
This is a very strange and very unique fact about Leonardo DiCaprio. Other than his first movie, which was Critters 3, he has never appeared in a sequel, and not one of his movies has ever had a sequel made of it, which is he holds a very singular place
Thank
there.
you.
That's why
Ben, I believe you mentioned Leo doesn't have to lose another Oscar to Daniel Day-Lewis.
No, Cody.
That was me.
Cody, sorry. He's actually never lost to Daniel Day-Lewis. He's lost to Tommy Lee Jones, Jamie Foxx, Forrest Whitaker, and all right, Matthew.
Which all equals one Daniel Day-Lewis.
Combine them.
Couple things
the
from
Ultron of
exactly.
the
That's
Voltron
Ultron
of Daniel
Day-Lewis. Couple things from Twitter. Justin Square. Andy has a suggestion that he thought you would like: Leo in a fat suit starring in The Dumps.
Oh, I do like that. That would be good.
And Cody, there's you have a really big fan on the internet at Dick Funday, something like that. He says you're the best movie fighter in the history of the show.
Whoa.
Wow.
Which everyone in this room...
And he's a Kansas City Royals fan. Go Fig.
Actually, he's a Houston Astros.
Astros, yeah. But fitting he would chime in on this round of all of Cody's answers.
Yes. Somebody also said that Dick Fundy is here in spirit.
All right. Based on the arguments...
I did get passionate.
did,
Sorry.
I was into the idea, but I feel like you could have sold me if you actually been realistic with it, and I think you just didn't pick... you were very non-committal, and you were like, he can be the dog, and then
I
you
feel like
lost
I
me.
gave better arguments for that.
So there was something fun there, but you didn't sell me. So you might have. So then it came down to Allison and Ben, and I think just Ben had a better pitch. And I think you were right. You gave me the realistic actually answer, which I think is he'd have fun with that. I don't know if the Bond choice is right, but that's not what the question was. Assuming if he was with a good Bond and he had the chance to play a villain, it's something new as well. And I think he might actually do that for a movie or two. Whereas I agree with you. I don't think you'd do 8 Mission Impossible movies.
He's too artsy.
So Ben gets the point. You're
Yes.
all on the board.
Ben.
It's because I stood up and was red-faced and yelled.
Yeah, you got passionate.
Yes,
I like
exactly, Ben.
I'm
Exactly.
gonna flip
Exactly
the
the
table
case.
next round. Try and top that.
Round 4.
Last time I was here, I was very like, okay, yeah. This round, I'm like,
Don't do that. No.
No.
You're next to the pro ball player in Allison who does not take any guff.
I am beyond disappointed that my
Stop
method
it,
did not work.
Space Odyssey! Dear
You
God!
guys are good opponents.
Stallone was talking about the Creed sequel. So For Mockery
God.
on Twitter asked us to
Yes.
pitch the story for Creed. It's not I Mockery, For Mockery. That's so confusing me.
At
Joseph
For
Studios.
Mockery?
At For Mockery.
Oh, wow.
I thought it was like Roger Barr, but no, it's Joseph Studios. So yeah, let's talk about this. You, Cody, I mean, you're going to come last on this, but I'm assuming you're excited for this one.
Very,
Movie of
very
the year.
excited.
Allison, we're starting with you.
Okay.
Pitch us your story for
I
Creed 2.
have to preface with I have not
The
seen
movie of the
Creed
year, for the
yet,
record.
which I haven't even seen. I haven't seen it, so I can't. I'm incapable of
Well,
knowing
he
how.
boxes.
That's
he
what I
grows-
figured.
Yeah, okay.
But I'm incapable of knowing exactly how the movie ends to build off of it. But this would be my bringing Creed into like the 2016 version. Obviously, we all know like MMA and CrossFit and all these crazy kinds of things are really big right now. So my pitch is Creed, doesn't make $1 million boxing or doesn't make a career boxing because it's really hard to do that. So he becomes a trainer himself and he starts training MMA fighters and then gets into that ring and like goes the whole UFC route. So
right.
he becomes the Sylvester Stallone of the MMA world.
Going against his father, trying a new sort of genre
Yes.
of the sport. Got it. Okay, Ben, what's your pick?
Quick
Okay, mine's-
reminder. UK fans have not yet seen Creed, so
Okay,
if-
cool.
if
I
it's
haven't
gonna be
either, so
spoiler, they
UK
should
fans,
probably
Okay.
tune
vote for
out
me.
if we're going
No
to spoil
spoilers.
it.
No spoilers here.
Oh,
This
come
is
on.
called-
That's my entire argument.
Mine would be.
Well, you'll just have to warn the audience.
Okay.
Mine would be Creed 2, The Rise of Ivan Jr. And everybody knows that Ivan Drago and Apollo Creed in Rocky IV had a death match, basically, and Apollo Creed gets killed. If you don't know that, the movie's like 25 years old.
Wait,
you should have known.
oh my God,
So-
what? I totally didn't know that.
So anyway, what happens is we follow Adonis Creed as he's rising up through the ranks of American boxing. But during that time, we go to post-Soviet Russia, where we see young Ivan Jr. living in the shadow of a country where the idealism at the time, the communist ideals don't exist anymore. His father was a symbol of those communist ideals. He doesn't exist anymore. His father, we start to peel back the layer a little bit to realize that Ivan Drago was not this evil villain that we thought. He was actually just brainwashed by communist Soviet Russia at the time and forced to be this killing machine. So then Adonis and Ivan Jr. go and fight together, and they start to realize maybe this isn't as simple as communism versus democracy. Maybe we can't just solve it with a fight. Maybe there's some gray area here, and who's the bad guy? Maybe Adonis's bloodlust is going to be what
Tell me it's
corrupts him.
Mr. T's son.
Yeah, what's that?
Is it Mr. T's son?
What's
oh.
that?
Oh, I thought you were going to give me a third.
No.
character.
Adonis's bloodlust to kill the guy's son who killed his father is maybe it corrupts him, and he could be the antagonist potentially, or borderline on that. To me, I think it would be an interesting.
That's
little build-up.
definitely that's gonna be tough to beat, Cody. What do you got?
Okay.
Oh, do we have to spoil? Are you spoiling?
Spoilers
Okay.
coming because I'm about to
Mute
give you
it,
the
mute it.
plot
Oh my
of a
God.
sequel.
Well, I'll go like this when cut to my wide. I'll go to like this when you can unmute. Okay, now mute.
Okay. Basically, I want the ending of the movie ended with now a vacant middleweight title vacant. Because Pretty Boy Conlon is going to jail. So now he's going to have a vacant title for the middleweight that Creed just fought for. So why not turn it into the movie Warrior or even Karate Kid and make it a bracket style tournament to establish who the middleweight champion is. And they did a great job in the movie by already setting up the final fight in the movie for the sequel. And that is Danny Stuntman Wheeler. He knocked out Adonis Creed early in the movie, and he's being trained by Apollo Creed's old trainer, son, Little Duke Evers. Okay, now that's the end of those spoilers.
No more spoilers?
No more spoilers.
No more
I gotta be
spoilers.
honest, having not seen the movie, what you said just made literally no
Yeah,
sense to me.
if you had listened, you would have. All right, go
Okay,
ahead.
so with that trainer training that other boxer and them going against each other as the rounds keep progressing, you kind of have this inner family turmoil with that. Also, a subplot having his girlfriend Bianca becoming pregnant, so now he has this himself having his own little personal identity crisis if he should continue fighting, putting himself in harm's way, giving it kind of a parallel to Rocky 2. You know, I feel as though this just lends itself to everything you possibly can for a rich sequel, and as opposed to going off into a different sport where, you know, boxing matches still make quite a bit of money. I mean,
I'm not saying they didn't. I'm just saying it's hard for boxers to make a living just boxing.
I know, but if you're
you have to have a trajectory out of that.
I know, but if you're going, you just boxed for the middleweight title, and now you're going to have a tournament for the middleweight title. I think everyone's going to jump in.
I haven't seen the movie, so I didn't know where it ended. I didn't know where he was at.
Fair point.
Why are both these better than him going up against Ivan Jr.?
Because it's been done before.
Because also the whole thing that his father might not have been this horrible war machine, that was kind of the ending of Rocky IV. It already happened. He picked up, he said, I don't fight for you, I fight for me. That was, this already took place.
I also just think that because going back to my original argument for Ex Machina, when we're
let
just,
it go, Alison.
You won the next
You
round.
didn't even see Creed.
But I know, hold on. But I'm just saying, when you keep remaking movies like this, or keep trying to expand on the universe and bringing in people's sons and things like that, I would actually say one of the things, going to The Force Awakens, one of the things I didn't like about The Force Awakens is that it felt like A New Hope and Jedi again. Now, that doesn't mean I didn't absolutely enjoy the movie, but part of me was like, why can't we have a new idea in this universe? And that's what I feel is wrong with Ben's idea. It's an idea we have already seen, and I understand the nostalgia factor behind it, but why can't we see these characters do something new? Why do we only depend on the stories they've done in the past, and then we want J.J. Abrams to just add some lens flares and flash it up for us, and we're like, it's amazing!
Just for the record, your argument is almost all entirely Star Wars this time around, but my...
No, I'm saying, I was referring, it was a reference to what is happening in yours.
The MMA thing, the reason I think MMA is not a good idea is because Rocky is a boxing franchise, and I know that MMA is a fighting style, but for me, you have to have boxing. We had MMA with Warrior already, like you mentioned. Warrior already did MMA its justice. If you take
so
this
we got
boxing,
one MMA movie.
No,
and
what I'm
that's
saying is that if you take Adonis Creed and you make him an MMA fighter, not only is the style drastically different.
I don't want to make him a fighter. I want to make him a trainer.
That's
my
the
point.
thing. He wouldn't know how to train an
that's what
MMA
I'm saying
fighter
is
because it's
he would
completely
have to
different
learn
style of
as
fighting.
well, because we have boxers. There are guys in the MMA who started out as boxers.
That's why I think a sequel, though.
But not a whole lot of MMA trainers that started off as boxers.
Yeah, a sequel.
Yeah, absolutely.
A sequel,
Where do you think the first MMA fighters they had to start training there?
it would be an incredibly anticlimactic sequel to be like, I just spoiler alerted in the last part of the movie something awesome happened, and then to drop from that to being now I gotta it's almost like the Mighty Ducks 2 of Creed is what it would be, where it's it's like, hey, I knew how to box, but now I don't know how to MMA fight. I gotta train myself and train other people. And then the reason why I think your idea is not as cool to me as Ivan Drago Jr. is because that you don't have this big bad guy that you're building up. And for me, your movie, it just, if he goes through brackets and brackets, we might as well just be watching a Mike Tyson Punch-Out
I couldn't even
movie.
remember your idea, to be quite honest.
We might as well be watching a Mike Tyson's Punch-Out the movie. Is what
that
your movie
sounds phenomenal.
It
Mike
does,
Tyson
but it doesn't need
Punch-Out's
to be the Creed
fantastic.
sequel.
For me, as goofy as it may seem, so did the idea of a Creed movie to begin with. But if you actually dropped in and made it about a real-life post-Cold War Russia versus the U.S. again, but not the goofiness of Rocky IV, because Rocky IV is absurd. But if you drop it down into a realistic, like where there is a gray zone between countries, and I think that you could actually explore some international politics.
I feel it's already been done.
Yours
problem
isn't
with
going to be
this-
absurd.
No, it'd be.
Wait a second. I just want to point
So
out.
I'm clear. Wait. Is yours going to be absurd or not?
I mean, it'd have to lend itself to some absurdity.
Okay.
Yes.
I also have to say that I think the biggest problem beyond what I already said is like retelling a story that's already been told within the franchise is that today's audience, like younger audience, they don't know anything about the Cold War. They don't have that passion behind it like they did in the 80s when the Rockies
They know
movies
about
came
Putin
out.
right now.
Yeah, but that's not the Cold War.
telling me Russia
If
went
you wanted
really
to make an
off the
idea of
rails.
some sort of like current political thing, it needs to be something more about what's happening in the Middle East. It needs to be something like that for them to care.
What's
They're just not going to care about the
What's
Cold
bothering
War.
about your movie is I already saw it. It was called Rocky IV.
What's bothering about your movie is I already saw it was called Warrior, but now you're putting Creed in it. What's
Guess what
bothering about
movie
your
you
movie
haven't
is I already
seen?
saw it. It's called Warrior.
No, it isn't.
Both of your movies are called Warrior with just different coats of paint on it.
Dan, what are they saying online on this one?
Oh, all sorts of things. I fell into an MMA hole here. MMA hole. I didn't. That's Yeah, I.
That sounds so vulgar.
Yeah,
Sounds
MMA
something
hole.
like a Craigslist.
Yeah, it doesn't. From what I can tell, MMA doesn't have huge roots in boxing. It's more martial arts.
There's
and-
punching
yes.
and
There's
kicking.
punching and kicking.
But there are
it's-
boxers who have gone into MMA. That's why I came up with the idea.
Sure. But I cannot, unfortunately, give you a definitive
Can I
history
say,
of mixed martial
I'm
arts.
disappointed no one turned him into Floyd Mayweather, and like, come on, that would be a fun. Then he becomes a jerk. Lets the fame hit him in his head.
I honestly was trying to
Can you
figure
win?
out.
Can you win this round?
No.
Can I be honest? I was trying to figure out a way to get him into the Rambo remake. I was like, how does he become a character that ends up in Rambo? And I just couldn't make
And then
it
Rocky
happen.
and Rambo meet each other,
Yeah.
and like Time Cop, it just explodes.
So Dan, anything else to add?
Not really.
Hey, JT in the booth, you're a Rocky fan. Which one did you like? Who are you voting at? Cody's? He picked
What?
Cody.
Cody,
Wow.
really?
JT.
I'm not saying that's the factor,
Et
but
tu,
he
Brute?
did pick Cody. All right. I asked a true Rocky fan. I will be honest, it came down to Ben and Cody just because I feel
Thank
like
God,
you were
I
at a
knew.
disadvantage because you hadn't seen the movie.
Honestly,
also.
he said his idea, and I was like, nope, that's it.
So here's where I'm at. I think Cody's is more realistic and the grittier version, but Allison's sort of not. I didn't really remember. It was very unmemorable.
Well, I
So
gave
that's where
I gave
got
the setup.
stuck.
I started off by giving
I
the
was so
setup.
excited, and then it was like, wait, they're in a bracket karate. Like, come on.
No, I
Yeah.
gave the setup basically how the
Can't
ending
swim
of the
now.
first
He
one
can't
was.
swim now. His decision's been made.
No, I'm just
But
saying I gave a setup
even
on
though
what
the
happened
Rocky
last
fan
movie.
picked it, I don't know. It just wanted something exciting, and it was. You almost I was with you, and then when you said it wasn't going to be silly, because I was like, well,
gotta
what
be a
the
little.
hell's the point of doing what you're with? But because you committed and said it's silly, I got to give Ben the point.
Yes.
That sounds ridiculously.
I'm
like
not
something
mad
I
about
want to watch. Paulo goes. We find out that both of them
sorry,
have
Cody.
boxing sons,
Sorry,
and they
Cody.
fight. I mean, come on, doesn't get more. How did you not pick that one, JT? Come on.
I haven't seen the movie, and I would have picked that one.
All right, round 5. Well, there were a lot of great movie moments in 2015.
Oh, boy.
So yes, that's right. Sorry. So we want to ask.
Are we all still friends? I just want to make sure. I'm not good with confrontation, so I just want to make sure we're all still friends.
So far.
Cody is
You
very angry sitting next to me.
You've got 2 more rounds to blow it. But
I didn't mean to.
Now you know
I don't understand how I lost to the plot of Rocky IV. Can someone explain that to me?
It's just about getting red-faced and yelling and making
Yeah.
eye contact.
Ivan Jr. versus
Do you-
Apollo.
you
need
need
a lot of
to
eye
watch
contact.
the episode
Saving the
where
Cold
me
War?
choosing.
He got me hooked. Yours was about a bracket system.
Yeah.
I wasn't hooked.
It's
but
what's
anyway.
going to happen. I just told you the next movie.
Round 5. A lot of great movie quote. So what's the best movie quote of 2015?
Yes.
I'm crying.
Yes.
We're starting with Ben. What's
Okay.
the best quote? A lot of movie quotes.
Hands down, Chewie, we're home. Done. Drop the mic. And do you need me to justify why? Because grown men cried when they saw the trailer. Grown men, when they saw the trailer and Han Solo says this, wept like babies. Like I do sometimes at that trailer as well and episodes of Parenthood. So anyway, to me it has so much emotion and so much simplicity to it, and it's going to be one of those iconic things that you see on a t-shirt, that you see on lunchboxes, all that kind of stuff. It's going to be just as iconic as I Love You, I Know was in the first franchise. It's a beautiful quote, and it sums up everything about Han Solo and where he's been.
Cody.
Mine would be, what a day! What a lovely day!
That was pretty
That was good. That was way better than
Yeah.
my Han Solo
Thank
impression.
you. And the reason I chose that quote was not only was it kind of the tagline for the movie, no line better describes the movie you're about to watch, because this movie is pure chaos and it just relishes in its own chaos. And I feel as though that quote is just the best description of that movie, just loving its own chaos.
Allison, what quote are you picking?
It can camouflage! From Jurassic World.
There he is. saying it.
I know. I will tell you why. I am a massive Jurassic Park fan. Like, I actually saw it in theaters.
Yeah.
I saw it in theaters 4 times when it came out in 1993.
Are you a massive Jurassic World fan too?
Yeah, well, I'm getting to that.
Oh, good, okay. That's why I gave you a high five, because
I'm just
Dan's
saying.
looking disapproved.
And the Jurassic Park sequels were fine. They weren't great.
3 is awful.
3 is awful.
Alan.
So I went into Jurassic World going, okay, how are they actually going to make this bigger and better? Like, how can they make it bigger and better? And you knew in the trailers that they had cooked up some dinosaur in that lab, as Chris Pratt says, and you're like, okay, it's a big dinosaur, but like, who cares? That was kind of like going back to The Force Awakens. They just made a bigger Death Star. I was like, I don't really care about it being a bigger dinosaur. And then that moment happens, and you were like, oh snap! That's how they did it! The giant asshole dinosaur can now camouflage! They just added that extra layer, and I was like, that's why it's Jurassic World and not Jurassic Park! They went there, and that to me defined the whole movie and the entire reason that movie made $800 million in the first weekend or whatever it did. I know the guy who wrote the movie, and that line came out, and the first thing I did was, I'm texting Derek. Like, that to me, I got out of the movie and all I did was text him in all caps, it can camouflage! Because it just made the movie. It's the reason we love Jurassic Park, and Jurassic World is now going to have 1 million sequels to it.
I love it. I just see so many faces here who don't agree. Let's hear why.
I would agree. I like Jurassic. I had a blast with Jurassic
You
World.
look like you're about to punch somebody.
That was the worst movie I saw.
Here's Dan, you want to give him a high five?
Wait, we're not arguing movies here, though. I had a blast with Jurassic World, but I would say that quote that you just mentioned, are we allowed to fight right now?
Yeah.
Okay. That quote that you mentioned, to me, I don't even remember it, and I would say that quote is emphasized by how cool the effect of the dinosaur camouflaging is, not necessarily the quote.
I didn't even think about that.
And I would say that there's much more quotable lines, like when Chris Pratt says, they're dinosaurs, wow enough. When she says, we have to up the wow factor. It's like, there's more quotable lines than, it can camouflage. I don't know, but it can camouflage. To me, the dinosaur camouflaging is cool.
What was that memorable quote you pulled again?
Dinosaurs, wow enough.
I'm not going to lie. I mean, I might be sabotaging myself out of a point in this because I really dislike Jurassic World. Because Jurassic Park's one of my all-time favorite movies, and Jurassic World I just found unwatchable. And not only did I not find that quote memorable or the best quote of the year, I didn't find any quotes memorable. I just kind of
shoveling for their dinosaurs.
I just kind
well
of
enough.
toned it out and just tried my best to eat popcorn and pretend I was watching something else.
Here's the point. I'm not arguing that Jurassic World was a good movie.
I know, but
I said it was an entertaining movie, and that's the line that made you realize where they were going with this franchise.
You're saying it was fun and not a failure.
I thought Verizon Wireless Presents the Indominus Rex actually really did a better job of explaining where this was going.
We're talking about best movie quote of 2015. What are people, if I look at this and I say, what are people going to remember in 5 years? What are people going to remember later in this year? Am I not allowed to say that? You looked like a...
No, I'm just going to say, why not them?
Why not them?
Yeah.
Nobody's going to remember any of these quotes in 10 years compared to Chewie, We're Home. That's something that has, to me, it has the history and it has just such an iconic feel to it. And to me, it made people cry.
Yeah.
Dude, what a lovely day.
I feel
make grown men, thousands of grown men cry.
My problem with Chewie, We're Home is, again, actually what I've been saying this entire episode, is that it relies too much on the nostalgia factor. It would not be memorable outside of the fan base of it.
I would argue, if you're saying best quotes, quotable quotes, no one I've ever heard has quoted "It can camouflage" ever.
That's all I talk about.
I've never seen hashtag "It can camouflage."
You have not seen my Twitter account then.
I've never said "It can camouflage." And what a lovely day! What a lovely day is a great quote. But to me, Chewie, We're Home is it just hits you on an emotional
level. Cody,
level.
I want to get Cody in. Yes. Go ahead.
Okay, well, the way I mean, it's not that it's a bad quote. It's a great quote. The problem is, it's a quote from the Star Wars movie from Han Solo. Every quote he has is going to tug at your heartstrings.
That's not how the Force works.
I mean,
that could have been a better quote.
I mean, just because this quote was in the trailer,
Han Solo said?
just because this quote was in the trailer doesn't make it automatically the quote of the movie.
It made people weep when they saw it in the trailer.
So did the Joker's quote, "I'm just gonna hurt you really, really bad." But that's not gonna be the quote of the year last
people cried
year.
when they saw that.
Oh, it definitely hit me.
I think
but
what a day, what a lovely, lovely day. My issue with that is that it doesn't, unless you see it within the context of the movie, it doesn't have anything to do. It doesn't have anything to do with the atmosphere of that film. Like if you just go up to someone and say, "What a day! What a lovely, lovely day," no one is really going to know what you're
If you
talking
say
about.
it can camouflage, they think you're out on a hunting trip.
No, if I go, you know what they did to
Chewie,
Jurassic
we're home.
World?
What
Cut
kind of
the
hunting trip are you
camouflage.
on?
I know.
Chewie, we're home is the only
Sounds
iconic
terrifying.
quote. Is the only quote that in 10
maybe
years
you're
people
talking
will
to
still
your
be
roommate
quoting.
Chewie.
No way.
Did you ever think of that?
There's no way. Chewie is the only quote that's going to stand the test of time out of all three of these.
I feel as though my quote simply just best personifies the movie. You know what you're walking
But
into
only if you
right
see
away.
it
Talk to
said
me in
in
10
the
years.
movie. I think it can camouflage was the game changer for Jurassic World.
All right. She done it. I was gonna anyway.
I was gonna dung it.
Dan, what do you got on over there?
Ben, I would just say I'm very glad to hear some Parenthood love on the show.
I love
It's a
Parenthood.
fantastic TV show.
I cried for a day after that finale.
That was me after Friday Night Lights.
I'm a softie, man. The older I get,
I found.
my 30s hit.
Speaking of softies, no one picked "Take Her to the Moon" for me.
Well, I was about to say there were many other options pitched on Twitter. One of them was "Take Her to the Moon" for me. One of them was language. Manners maketh man
was
was
that?
pitched.
Language was
from
Captain
Kingsman.
Avengers 2.
Ultron.
Oh, yeah.
Witness
Kingsman.
Me, also from Mad Max. That's Not How the Force Works was one that was suggested. There are lots of very interesting quotes that people really. I'm gonna have to science the shit out of this. Was one that came up.
Oh,
That's
that's
a
a
good
good
one.
one.
Lots of.
Except he didn't say.
And then it
didn't
just
say like
justifies
that.
all
That's how
the-
it's said in the book, but he didn't say it in the movie. He says, "I'm gonna have to science the hell out of
No, he
this."
says
And
shit.
the-
He says
oh, he
shit.
does.
Yeah.
Oh, maybe
Yeah.
they
The
changed it in the
trailer.
trailer.
Yeah.
That actually upset me when I saw the trailer. I'm like, that's not what he says
Also,
in the
there
book.
are 4 instances currently, although I'm sure there are about to be a lot more of hashtag it can camouflage.
Only
Yep.
4.
Boom.
Four of all time on
how many
Twitter.
hashtag Chewie we're home are there?
I'm gonna get something trending.
I'm going to need a few days to probably duplicate.
Hashtag-
Hey, what about "What a
Exactly.
Lovely Day"?
What a lovely day. Let's see.
Chewie we're home is probably you're gonna have to. You said a couple days it'll take you
Yeah,
to
to
look through?
calculate that.
I don't know. I'm just saying.
What a lovely day is pretty. Yep. There's a lot. Yeah.
All right.
Thanks.
Based on the arguments, I don't know. I hugely entertained during Jurassic World. I agree it's not a fantastic movie, but I enjoyed.
No, but it was fun.
But
It
the
was so
quote,
fun.
I don't remember the quote
you
as
serious?
finely as you do. So I think they said it. I'd agree. Out of the 3 quotes that are here, I think that one was the 3rd place. So then it came down to Chewie and "What a Day," and it came down to the arguments where. You said it. Every Han Solo line was good. Why that one over the others? Whereas your quote really does sort of sum up the movie, and it's sort of a mantra that you can say to people who've seen the movie, like wrapping the chaos, like you said. I give the point to Cody.
Whoa.
Chewie we're home sums up
Oh, gosh,
episode
he's in the
7
lead.
100%.
No, you guys are tied. Okay.
Tied. One more question, Allison, to tie it up.
I don't honestly.
So you still have a shot.
I don't want to go to the final round because that's where I get my heart broken. So.
Well, do whatever you want. Round 6.
Well, do whatever you want.
Star Wars.
I want to see someone else's soul get crushed for once.
I feel like we've
I
all.
don't know what to say. I don't want your heart to
I
cry.
feel like there's so many enemies being made in this game today.
The last
and
two
I like
answers.
everyone.
Allison, if you
I'm
looked,
still friends with everybody here. I like
if you
everybody.
looked at me when you were making your argument, you would have seen someone's soul getting crushed.
He hates Jurassic World with a passion.
Why? It was.
You should connect him with the screenwriter. That would be amazing.
I have a lot of
gosh.
questions I'd like to ask him.
Oh, I probably asked them of him.
Dan, I'm
Don't
fist
get me
bumping you
wrong.
right now.
I was not like.
Star Wars Force Awakens won me $5 because it became the highest grossing film and beating Avatar, which I had a nice gentlemanly bet with Dan, and I won it way quicker than I thought I
20
was going
days.
to win.
20 days.
But I knew that was a while ago we made that bet, but I had a feeling that was going to happen, and it did. So it crossed the $1 billion mark worldwide. So Sadie 11 on Twitter asked us, what's the greatest $1 billion, right? What's the greatest $1 billion grosser of all time? Now there's a list we provided of you of the movies that have gotten
That
there
didn't work for me.
worldwide. It didn't work. Well, hopefully you picked something off the list of a movie
I
that
don't look
made
stuff up on my own.
$1 billion worldwide, and we're gonna see what it is. Cody, you start us off. What's your pick?
I think there's a lot of good choices on this. Well, a couple of. I'm immediately going to go, not just because the $1 billion, this would be probably one of my first choices just off the bat and best movies like ever. And that's The Dark Knight. I think The Dark Knight took the superhero genre into a place that it just had never been before. You know, yes, it played off of, you know, terrorist fears in America, but it was just everything about it. Rich characters, an unbelievable villain, you know, a great ending. You know, really, it really just raised the bar in the superhero genre, period. And I personally, I mean, everyone could say they love Avengers, and I love Avengers too, but I don't think anyone has ever touched the bar set by The Dark Knight, in my personal opinion. And it's just a movie that I can sit down and watch right now. I might do that on my phone when they start arguing, in fact.
Go ahead, Alison.
I just realized I started chewing on a pen cap that someone else has obviously already chosen.
Nice. That's the worst.
That was cool.
I think most diseases die after a few days.
I don't know which guest did
All right,
that,
cool.
but someone did. Maybe it was Kevin Smith, and then you could have made out with Kevin Smith. He was just here.
I used to work for him.
Here then. This is. I didn't even realize what I said in my last round would tie into this round, but I went Jurassic Park. I think it made $1 billion after it's all been adjusted for inflation, I believe. But to me, this was a fantastic movie on its own. You cannot argue that. It's nothing like the ridiculousness of Jurassic World. This is a fantastic film. The what's the word I'm looking for? They're not CG. The practical effects, thank you. The dinosaurs were amazing. They were so good. That movie holds up. That movie is 20 years old, and it holds up today. You still watch those dinosaurs. You still care about them so much, which is actually one of the things that bugged me in Jurassic World, how they were all CG, and then the one practical effect that they use actually looked ridiculous compared to the weird CG. But I think that the fact that these practical effects hold up 20 years later, they still look like dinosaurs. It's still a moving story. You still care about all of the people in this film. And like I said, I saw it in theaters 4 times when it came out. Back then, seeing a movie 4 times in theaters took effort. It's not like today where you can just go online and like buy, pick your seat. Like you have to go and wait in line and go through that whole hassle. And I'm not the only one who did that. So many people did that the film raised $1 billion. And back then, not a lot of films raised $1 billion. So to me, it's Jurassic Park. We're not arguing other films yet. Jurassic Park.
Ben, what's your pick?
The Avengers, and it's because I would argue that the Avengers raised the bar for superhero movies more than any other film in history. It took something that all these other movies, I don't want to argue yet, but nothing like this had ever been done before, where 6 movies that would normally be separate franchises and completely just self-contained entities led into a movie that combined all 6 as the 7th film and then was better than all of them. This could have been a giant train wreck, and it was easily the best Marvel movie, maybe even the best Marvel movie still to date, tied with Captain America 2 for me. But all these movies led into a mega movie that did not fail and succeeded more than any fan could ever hope for, and critic.
Why did you have to use the French movie poster for
Le film, Les
Avengers? Do we start arguing?
Yes.
Yes. Okay. Both of you guys are totally. Neither Dark Knight nor The Avengers raised the bar for comic book movies. The film that raised the bar for comic book movies was the first Iron Man film. That's the first time that a comic book franchise had been taken seriously and done as an actual movie as opposed to like a popcorn crunch and whatever. Dark Knight, while I'm not going to argue that it's not a fantastic film, it is a fantastic film, but it gets the praise it gets solely from Heath Ledger, solely from one guy's performance who then had a tragic end right before the film came out. So that's going to add to why it was $1 billion movie. It's not the film itself. Avengers, you're right. 6 films leading into one movie is a pretty great thing, but I don't think it was any different than any of the other great Marvel movies that came before it. Jurassic Park was the first of its not great franchise, but the first one was fantastic. And, it was based on a book that, a lot of people read, but how many times do people go see movies that are based on books these days? You don't do that anymore unless it's the freaking Hunger Games.
Now, I really want to point out that I totally agree that all 3 of these movies are great movies.
Yeah.
But I can't get on board with Avengers. I love Avengers, but I'm actually partially with her that I found Iron Man to be a better movie, even though it's not $1 billion. That's a kind of a mute point, but I'm just saying I don't think it's the best of what Marvel has put out. I love it, but it's not, to me, it's not the best. I think Iron Man kind of did it.
It's a desert island movie.
As for Iron Man setting the bar, not only did it raise the bar from Iron Man, which it only came out a couple of months later. It might have been 2 months later. I think Iron Man came out in May that year, and then
Dark Knight
in
was
July.
June or July.
Yeah,
Yes.
but to say that it all hinged on Heath Ledger's performance,
I didn't say it all hinged.
Heavily hinged.
Yeah,
on him.
definitely.
But I'm pretty sure Dark Knight Rises also made $1 billion, and it had no death of an actor to help increase its value.
Then why didn't you pick Dark Knight Rises?
Because Dark Knight is better. But I can't sit here and say because of his death that's why it made $1 billion when its sequel, its successor did the exact same thing without the controversy of anyone's death. So I just feel as though it's just a phenomenal movie. And I think saying the whole movie hinged on his performance is unfair to the other actors who were amazing, such as Harvey Dent, played by Aaron Eckhart. He was fantastic too.
He was.
I mean, I feel as though this movie had so many layers to it, and when at the very end, the Joker wasn't even the ending scene of the movie. It was Harvey Two-Face. I just feel as though it was such a great movie.
Both of your movies are sequels, and mine's not.
My argument, though, would be that as well, Dark Knight is a Joker movie. Batman is barely in it, and Batman's even in less of Dark Knight Rises. It's Christopher Nolan is obsessed with his villains more than his heroes in the sequel specifically. Dark Knight is a brilliant film, but it does hinge almost entirely on the Joker. And the thing you brought up about Harvey Dent, his arc is so rushed at the end. He becomes bad and then he dies. And if you haven't seen it, sorry, it's amazing. It came out a while ago. You should have seen it.
Quit apologizing.
He dies, and
Wait,
that was
does?
such a rushed arc for Two-Face. Where
You just
could have
ruined the movie for me.
Two-Face
No,
could
hold
have
on.
been.
He doesn't actually. You think he dies?
Yes, he's dead.
No.
Harvey Dent is dead.
They
Harvey
both
Harvey
Batman
Dent.
Harvey Dent is dead.
Two-Face
Yeah.
is not.
Harvey Dent is
Two-Face
the
is.
same
No, I
person.
know. Oh,
same person.
Two-Face is not dead at the
Yes,
end
he
of
is.
it.
Yes.
He
No,
dies.
because there was a big deal.
Let me just finish the argument. 1 second.
No,
I'm
there
going to
was a
lose.
big deal when they didn't bring Aaron Eckhart back. I remember that being a thing.
He was laying dead. But so I would
Batman
say
takes the blame for his death. It's
Yes.
all part of the plot.
But wasn't it
And
left to like
also
he
the
could have been
ending.
alive?
I'm going to lose my
Go
train of thought with
ahead.
my argument. So
This is how I'm gonna win.
she's totally screwing it here. So and also with Dark Knight, I would argue that more people make fun of Batman's voice. Just as many people make fun of Batman's voice as they do praise Heath Ledger's performance. How many times have you heard, but he must have friends? No matter what, Christian Bale is great as Bruce Wayne, ridiculous as Batman, I would say. Joker's amazing. That's the only thing you got going for you in that movie. Now with Jurassic Park, it's a fantastic film. I would say that the techniques used hadn't been done before, where you combine practical with CGI to something that could last up to this point. But Iron Man did set the bar for Marvel extremely high. Avengers jumped and leaped over that, pole vaulted over that for me and for everybody else. For critics, it got better reviews than most of the Oscar-nominated films that year. And like I said, it combined all these characters and all these franchises that usually would be the lead of their own franchise and had a very balanced movie where it was a team of superheroes, where comic book fans have been dying for something like this for years.
All right, here's what I need, because these are 3 fantastic movies, and we're going to argue in circles of why they're good. I need one last closing from each of you. Why yours is better than the others? I've heard the reason why the 6 build-up. I've heard the fact that this defined the genre, Heath Ledger. All of you, just give me one last sort of final new point, if you can, as to why it is, and whoever wants to go first can go first.
Oh, God.
Jurassic Park was the first of a franchise, and for the first film of a franchise to make $1 billion is a much more significant achievement than for films that are already part of an existing successful franchise to make $1 billion.
Ben.
Okay.
I'll flip a table too if you want passion as part of that.
This film not only raised the bar for the Marvel franchise, like I said, but it raised the bar for other franchises too, where now DC is rushing to do a Batman versus Superman movie, and they're trying to clamor to be as good as the Marvel movies. So for me, it set the tone for what's going to come from here. Nothing had been done like that before, and everybody's scrambling to try and be as good as that now, and they're going to probably fail.
All I
Like
can
DC hater? Jeez.
I mean, I just feel as
I
though
love DC, just not necessarily them.
Well, I think The Dark Knight is a movie that is not just that's why it's so good. It's not a comic book movie. It is to me, it is a crime drama with Batman, and that to me is better than any movie ever made.
You got a little teared up there. I liked
did.
it. I appreciated that. He did that on purpose.
Dan, what are they saying online?
A lot of people, first of all, just to clear up some confusion on Twitter, these are worldwide unadjusted grosses, of which both Dark Knight and Jurassic Park barely eked in there.
Oh, are they? That was the thing. The link you guys sent me didn't work, so I had
We
to just...
accepted all three answers.
Yeah, okay.
Just a lot of people saying there's not actually that many good movies on that list, but a lot of people start saying Titanic, Return of the King, Toy Story 3. So there are a few that didn't quite make the fight that some people are going to bat for on these social medias.
You all made really strong arguments, so I really just judged you on your closing, is how I did that.
I thought you were going to say on our clothing. I was like, what?
My shirt is a little tight.
I got a polo shirt. My shirt over there.
My shirt's a little tight.
Uh,
I donated $20 to get it.
Well, you took the jacket off, I noticed.
I did. It got hot in
You had
here.
to show off.
Yeah.
No, it's just my forehead's already shiny. If it sweats
Subtle.
more, it's going to just be a spotlight
Based
blinding.
on, because all your arguments were strong, but then based on the closing, I think Alison made the strongest point. It was the first of a franchise. You guys had something else that they could base that on and where that came from, whereas she didn't, and that one didn't, and it really blew people away. So based on that point, she gets the point. Wow, you know what that means?
We're all tied.
It means we're all tied. I hate doing that. It makes
In
the
my
show
defense,
longer.
Jurassic Park was not on the list I saw.
Sorry.
Jurassic
You could have
World
done
was.
research, like she did.
I mean,
Mandatory
I'm not that
research.
mad. Jurassic Park's an amazing movie.
That was a tough round because... And now
I was waiting. My favorite part was you had to shit on Jurassic Park.
know.
You're like, well, Jurassic Park had to do this stuff, and then you just completely didn't go.
I honestly didn't
shit
try.
on one of, that's the thing. It's
We'll
like...
talk about that more after the fight. All right. Speed
favorite
round.
movies.
I mean, sorry, tiebreaker.
Oh, God.
So,
We have to do an extra round now?
Yeah, so I'm going to give you a broad topic question that all three of you are going to do a speed round answer on. So
This is done.
all three of you
Movie
are going
fight's
to
going.
answer at the same time. Do you understand? So the first, whoever says their answer first gets that choice. If an answer is said, you have to pick something else. You'll each get 15 seconds to tell me if it's the right choice. Any questions?
Oh, I stress out so much during
All right.
this.
This
So
is
wait,
the
we say it
tiebreaker.
first and then you tell us which one.
We're Dan, everybody, Ryan, Ken, JT, you're all gonna help me listen who said it first. All right. So I'm gonna ask a question. First to answer gets that topic. Any questions?
No.
All right. Best. Do I hear music?
Yeah, I heard that too.
It's just my cans are soft because I'm so loud. All right, here we go. Tiebreaker. Best live action movie based on a cartoon.
Oh, my God. What?
Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, the original.
Oh, fuck. That's a good one.
I would say Batman, 1989.
Does that count?
Could. Based on a comic that's
A
drawings.
cartoon.
I
Okay,
can
all
only-
right, I gotta change it then. Okay, I'll
I
change
can
it.
only think of things that I want to see.
Based on a cartoon.
Yeah, I think Batman doesn't count. No, it's a
Based on a
comic.
89,
cartoon.
Comic.
I don't even know any movies based on cartoons that aren't terrible.
I know.
You might have to pick a terrible one.
That's the fun
Oh, we can't do based on video games. Oh, man. I got...
There are a lot of them.
There
Can we
are
do
several.
porns?
Did you say porns?
Yeah.
Oh my god.
I guess.
Next question.
All right. Well, if one of you answers, you're going in with them. If one of you doesn't answer, you're out. If you both don't answer, I guess.
Can we get options? I legitimately can't think of
No,
any.
that's part of the game.
I can't think of any.
help you
I can
guys.
think of cartoon movies, but none that are good.
Well, can I propose a solution? If
Yes.
Since Cody answered, if these two legitimately can't answer, then I would say Cody moves on, and then we ask these two another question.
Yeah.
We have enough. We have enough to
I'm
do.
okay with that because I could run to the bathroom.
He-Man! Yeah.
Not called that.
G.I. Joe. G.I. Joe. Right.
I mean, I'll accept. I guess
What?
Masters
It's
of the
called
Universe
Masters
with
of the
Dolph
Universe.
Lundgren. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right. I heard one, and you picked
G.I. Joe Retaliation, the sequel.
Okay, we got three.
Okay,
right.
there we go.
Well, I was about to pick that, but you came in just under the wire.
Yeah.
G.I. Joe
All right.
Retaliation.
I honestly looked over there and saw Skeletor, and then I was like, oh, wait a minute.
There. See. Yeah. All right, so we have Masters of the Universe versus Ninja Turtles versus G.I. Joe Retaliation is the
sequel. Second one.
Okay, I'm gonna need help here. Yes, Cody, you said it first, so you're go ahead.
How much time do I have?
15 seconds on the clock and go.
It's Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. It's got a great story. It's seen through the eyes of April O'Neil. And I'd like to point out, most importantly, Sam Rockwell is in the movie. And he is the best ever in his 10 seconds of screen time.
Interesting. Okay, and then I heard He-Man next. So Allison,
gosh.
Masters of the Universe, Dolph Lundgren, 15 seconds, go.
One, Dolph Lundgren, and two, it actually came up with a really creative storyline to get He-Man into our present day. We didn't have to watch the whole movie taking place in wherever He-Man lives, and I'm totally spacing on that right now. But they came up with that whole like crazy keyboard and it had to play the right tune, and it was amazing.
You pulled the keyboard. I'm impressed.
Yeah.
Okay, you have seen it. Eternia.
Yes, thank you.
All right, and we have G.I. Joe Retaliation.
Yes.
Ben, you ready? 15 seconds on the clock. Go.
It manages to erase all the goofiness of the first one and add this gritty revenge plot, and it has The Rock in it. How do you not like a movie with The Rock as roadblock? And then it has all the vehicles, and the Storm Shadow versus Snake Eyes brawl in the mountains is out of this world. It's incredible. We've wanted to see that in live action since I was a kid, at least, to see a live action Storm Shadow and Snake Eyes fight.
Here's what I'm doing, Dan. I'm going to pick the winner, because there was a winner for me out of those three, and then I'm going to give 5 seconds to the other two for rebuttals, all right?
You are the judge.
Ben, you're going to the finals. I think that was the strongest argument out of the three. So I need
how did
5
I not beat
seconds.
Turtles?
5 seconds from Cody and Allison to tell me why your movie's better, and the reason. 5-second rebuttal based on why. So give me more. So 5-second rebuttal on Ninja Turtles. Why it's better than He-Man. Go.
Casey Jones is an absolute badass, and so is Raphael. And Guy, I want to beat both of them right now.
Allison, you have 5 seconds why He-Man is better than the Ninja Turtles original movie. 5 seconds on the clock, and go.
There's nothing cooler than actually finally seeing a human pick up that sword and do the whole He-Man thing.
I
have the power.
I need some
I
help
can't
here.
remember anything
Based
else.
on both arguments.
I just wouldn't
Based
watch
on
it
both
recently.
arguments, and it was down to the final for me, but I felt like Cody was able to pull more details out of his movie, and Allison, it didn't seem like hers made as much of an impression on her.
Because I
So-
haven't seen it in 20 years.
So I gotta go with Cody.
I gotta say I agree, and I guess that means we
I
won't
gotta
break
go
your
with Cody,
heart.
too.
We
No,
won't
thank
break your heart
God.
this time.
I'm gonna leave today and feel better about
Yeah.
myself.
You'll see my head explode in
You
this
were
round.
very close. It was very close. You
Yeah.
can't. You tied it at the end, and
I know.
you should be proud of that.
I couldn't.
You're gonna help me now,
Okay.
judge this the rest of the speed round. All
Now I
right,
just
with
get
Dan.
to judge you. That was
All
such
right,
a
that
good
was
pull
intense.
with turtles, though.
I know,
Yeah.
as soon as you said that, I was like,
I know.
Technically, the cartoon came out before the movie, so that
Yeah.
did
It
count.
did,
Yeah.
and the versions of those turtles were because people
Closer
are
to
saying
the
like, oh,
cartoon.
it's based on a comic book.
No, that was a good call.
We thought that might come up before the show, and
You're
we
right, the
made
versions were
judgment
based
call
on the
that-
cartoon.
Yes.
It was close though, but you got it. All right, wow. All right, Cody and Ben, you're in the speed round. Now we're in official speed round music. 5 questions will be asked. Those 5 points will be added. It's tied now, so this is all the marbles here. All right.
wait.
Best of luck.
Hey.
Oh, you guys can be friends.
what?
Oh,
So we
I'm
have-
good. I'm
you're
good
good.
over here, guys.
I know,
Nobody
I
got a
said-
point
I
on
am
that
just
last one.
fine.
We just eliminated Allison.
Yeah.
You guys have.
I guess no. Ben and Cody each got a point, so we're 3 Cody, 3 Ben, and 2
I'm
Allison.
impressed by both of you, by the way.
All right, round 1.
Okay.
What character would you rather be? Leonardo DiCaprio in The Revenant, or Matt Damon in The Martian?
Martian.
Okay, you got The Revenant, Cody,
Okay.
and Ben, you're The Martian. Mm-hmm. Ben, you went first. 15 seconds on the clock.
Just
Dan,
say why I would be, not why I
15
wouldn't
seconds.
be him.
Why would you rather be The Martian over The Revenant? And go.
Just for the simple fact that I don't have to be dying and bleeding out in the snow and attacked by a bear. Matt Damon has almost no conflict on Mars that he can't fix when he sciences the shit out of it. Everything is fun and pretty easy. He loses a little bit of weight and then he's rescued. Plus he gets to be on Mars.
Cody, got 15 seconds on the clock, and go.
Matt Damon is left on a planet with really nowhere to go, and he really doesn't have much hope. Where Leonardo DiCaprio actually has a plan. He's hunting down Tom Hardy, and
No
you know
spoilers.
Whoa.
Whoa.
Don't wreck his time.
Sorry, restart.
I'm going to reset. Go ahead.
I screwed up.
You
I'm
screwed
sorry.
him up, so
I'm
we get to
sorry.
start
I didn't mean to do
again.
that. I didn't mean to
start
do
your,
that.
start, just stricken the record. 15
Okay.
seconds fresh. No interrupting. Go.
Matt Damon is stuck on Mars with literally no hope of real actual survival other than making away on Mars, where Leonardo DiCaprio is going on a mission to hunt down Tom Hardy, and that alone is enough reason for me to want to keep going. Hunt down the man that killed my son.
5-second rebuttal, Ben.
Okay. I would argue that space travel is something that I would want to do more than have to witness the death of my son and then go hunt down the man that kills him.
Cody, 5 seconds.
And I'm so sorry about screwing up your rebuttal. I haven't seen The Revenant.
5 seconds. Yes. All right. Laughter's out. 5
I haven't
seconds.
seen The Revenant yet. That's why I said that. I'm
5
sorry.
seconds. Go.
I love the opportunity of growing a really sweet beard and being in a Western.
I give that a lot of props, but I think Ben really crushed it on that one. Allison, Dan.
Yeah.
I think Ben, that was a tough one, Cody. You were up against the wall on that,
was a good one.
You kept it strong. Good effort.
I didn't mean to interrupt. I haven't seen The Revenant yet. I'm seeing it
I
this
haven't seen
weekend,
it
and I
either.
spazzed, and I'm so sorry.
It's okay. It's okay.
How many times have I apologized during this
I
fight?
haven't heard the term spaz in so long.
You find that out pretty quickly though, so don't worry. It's not really a spoiler.
It's in the
Okay.
commercials.
Yeah, it's in the
Okay.
commercials.
I stay trailer free now.
Yeah, I try to too.
It's a long movie. There's still a lot to see. All right. Who would you rather team up with? Who would you rather team up with? Ray or Furiosa?
Ray.
Furiosa.
There we go. That was clean. Ben, you got Ray. You're going first. 15 seconds on the clock, and go.
Once again, space travel. Secondly, Rey has the Force. She could train me to be a Jedi. I don't want to live in a post-apocalyptic future where I have to fight for oil and water. I want to be a Jedi and defeat the Sith for good and kick Kylo Ren's ass for what he did. Can't say it. Don't want to spoil it.
All right, 15 seconds for Cody. Go ahead.
Rey cannot control the Force at all. She is not a Jedi, cannot train me to be a Jedi, where Furiosa is a badass. She can make her way around that world, that post-apocalyptic world, and me and her can fight everyone because she's got my back.
All right, 5-second rebuttal. Ray.
I think I would rather live in a world of Star Wars and Jedi and Sith than in a post-apocalyptic cannibalistic future.
Okay, you get a couple extra seconds there. Go ahead. 7 seconds.
She's got a mechanical arm, and she's a sweet driver in a world of nothing but driving.
He didn't even need those last seconds.
All right. Dan, based on the arguments.
Based on the arguments, I felt like Ben was arguing for what world he wanted to live in. The question was, who'd you want to team up with? I felt like Cody addressed
damn it.
that better, so I got to go.
I'm with you. That's what I was
Yeah,
writing,
and
Allison.
you can't be a Jedi. She can't train you to be a Jedi if you don't already have the Force. Sorry,
I thought
Ben,
it was going to
you
be a
don't.
slam dunk, but yeah, you could have
Yeah.
worked, Cody. You stuck it in there. You're getting the point.
Damn
4 to
it.
4.
That was a good
barn
good
burner.
job,
Number
Cody.
3. Here we go. Best movie with the word street in the title.
Street? Mean Streets.
Oh, shit. Street Fighter.
Street Fighter. Damn it! Not the Legend of Chun-Li.
No, Street Fighter.
Okay, the original. All right, with Van Damme. All right, got it. Street Fighter versus Mean Streets. You never know on this show, Coach.
Never know.
Let's go. I'm
Mean
buying in.
Streets, 15
This
seconds.
is
Go.
when I lost.
Mean Streets brings in Martin Scorsese. It's his stamp on the filmmaking industry. Robert De Niro gives an amazing performance. You got Harvey Keitel. You got one of the best barroom brawls ever. You got the quote, "Are you here? Are you here? Then get off my back." It's a fantastic film.
Cody, 15 seconds for Street Fighter. Go.
Arguably the best performance by Jean-Claude Van Damme, and that is saying a lot. Secondly, Raul Julia is the villain. I love Raul Julia. I mean, Gomez Adams kicking ass in a red suit. I will watch that again right now. I might. Oh, what, am I out of time? Raul Julia, red suit.
All right. 5-second rebuttal, Ben.
Street Fighter is one of the worst movies I've ever seen. It's a goofy video game slosh fest.
Cody, 5 seconds
Slosh
left.
fest.
I'm going to kick Bison's ass so hard that the next wannabe Dyson is gonna feel it.
Allison, based on the arguments.
I mean, I kind of like Cody's arguments better. I've also never seen Mean Streets, so
What?
yeah, I know. So I didn't have any feel.
So Cody
for
made you
it.
want to see it more. You're giving him the point?
Yeah,
All
like,
right.
yeah.
Dan,
Ben.
here's where I'm stuck.
Scorsese.
You almost had me, but you gave up. If you had just said it's more fun to watch and rewatch than Mean Streets, I might have given it to you, but you were almost halfway there. Always commit all the way. Ben gets that point. 5 to 4. Number 4. Which would you rather marathon? 15 Steven Seagal movies or 15 Chuck Norris movies?
Steven Seagal.
Chuck Norris.
Okay. Ben got Seagal. Cody got Chuck Norris. 15 seconds on the clock. 15 seconds Seagal 15 Seagal movies. Let's go.
Steven Seagal has the martial arts and the comedy chops that I don't think Chuck Norris has at all. And you got On Deadly Ground, you have Under Siege, you have Executive Decision, you have, I'm blanking on other things. Hard to Kill. It's just, he's nonstop, he's brutal, it's violent.
All right. Cody, you have 15 seconds for 15 Chuck Norris movies. Go.
This is an opportunity to sit down and watch a man with phenomenal chest hair, phenomenal beard, and watch him sidekick his way all the way to the finale of my viewing pleasure, which is Sidekick, which is arguably the best nostalgia 90s movie ever made. Unappreciated. I'm gonna go watch it today.
You have a lot of movies to watch.
I'm gonna have a long night.
I don't think you have enough hours left.
Ben. Go.
Seagal movies age better than Chuck Norris movies. Chuck Norris movies are kind of ridiculous now. His beard is absurd. Seagal is a badass.
Final thoughts, Cody. 5 seconds. Go.
Chuck Norris aged better than Seagal did. Period. And so did his movies.
Dan. I like the tone on it.
And so did his movies.
The tiebreaker for me is always passion.
Is this a tiebreaker?
Cody well, I mean, if I have two arguments. The tiebreaker for me is passion, and Cody seemed more passionate about his choice, so I got to go with Cody, I think, on this.
I gotta go.
Non-committal.
I was with you, but I wanted to hear a little bit more. But I was more impressed with Ben listing more movies that he did. He got 4 Seagal movies out. You named
Which
one,
is hard,
and that is hard. So that alone was what made me decide with Ben. But Alison, you're going to tiebreak this based on the arguments.
Oh man,
which one was the best?
Hi guys.
She's thinking, who was meaner to me
I mean,
last
this is
round?
the thing. I think Ben was more factual, and I think Cody was more passionate. I really like that Cody brought up the beard.
I said the beard is goofy.
And you're wrong.
Based on the argument, are you going to go beard or factual?
You know what? I have to go factual because I got screwed when I went factual last time and lost. So I'm siding on fact.
Sidekick
So
is
Ben-
better than
Yeah.
any
I
Seagal
think-
movie together.
What?
That does it, right? Ben, you are the winner! Oh my God! Yay! Cody, man, valiant effort though.
Cody
You
could
really
not be
brought on
less
your
happy
first
for
show.
me.
I hope you'll come back.
Congratulations.
Is this your first show?
Yeah.
Get out of here,
Right?
dude.
Yeah,
You're
impressive.
a killer, man.
Nah, thanks.
I thought you'd done this like
He's
10
a pro. What do you
times.
expect?
You
He
should
does
have
this for a
seen
living.
My first show, I had like a brain meltdown in the in the speed round, and
Me
I
too.
left here like shaking.
How
I
did
was
Sidekick and
shell-shocked.
Joe Piscopo not get me to
I
the
had
next
no-
question?
I had
Piscopo.
nightmares of my answers.
He
that
was
I-
shirtless.
No joke. I had stress dreams of my bad answers from last time.
I did too. No,
All right.
You have to understand, last time I
We'll
lost.
talk, guys.
Oh,
We'll
yeah,
talk
we have
after
an
the
after
fight.
show.
We have an after show. So if you'd
Okay,
like to
yeah,
hear us
yeah.
talk more about what went down, and if you'd like to call in and talk to these
They can
people,
call
you're going to be
in.
able to do that next on Screen Junkies Plus. So please do that. I'd like to thank our guest so much, Alison Haislip. Thank you for coming in. Alison Haislip on Twitter. Anything you'd like to plug? Anything coming up?
Sure. Yeah, I don't know. Just follow me on Twitter.
Twitter.
I just realized I can't. I do have something coming up. I can't say it yet.
Got
so
it.
I don't
So
wanna
follow
blow
on
it.
Twitter
But
and
yes,
you'll
I'll
find out
announce
first.
it soon. Yes.
Ben Begley at the Ben Begley on Twitter. Anything you got going on?
Yeah, actually, a horror film my wife and I wrote, The Funhouse Massacre. It's coming out on VOD and DVD. I don't have the exact release date yet, but if you go to funhousemassacremovie.com and follow at Funhouse Mass, there's not enough Twitter characters, so it just sounds like a fun time at church. It's
Or Massachusetts.
Yeah, it's a fun house in Massachusetts. No, but it's coming out probably spring, and we're really excited about it. It had a good review and theatrical run, so we're stoked.
I thought of something to plug. Can I plug something?
Yes.
Do it.
I have a podcast, the Half Hour Happy Hour with Allison and Alex. It's a weekly podcast on the Nerdist Network. Download us on iTunes. It's really funny. We have a drink, and for 30 minutes, we talk about funny stuff we found on the internet.
Sorry, I forgot. Yeah, Guilty Movie Pleasures, me and Josh McCouga. You guys know Josh McCouga here. He's awesome. And
I don't. Who's that?
You don't
No,
know?
I don't.
We talk about ridiculous, a lot of the Chuck Norris and Seagal movies we talked about.
That's
we just
how you
kinda,
knew.
Yeah.
And Cody Decker at Decker6 on Twitter. Man, thanks for coming.
Is your number 6?
No, I can't wear 6, unfortunately, but it's my lucky number.
Why not?
Because Lorenzo Kane wears it for the Royals, and I just signed with the Royals a few months ago.
You're like, God damn
Follow
it.
me on Twitter at Decker6, the number 6. Go Royals. Thanks for having me, and I have nothing to plug. I have a lot of movies I have to watch.
Have you ever sung Lord's Royals at a karaoke bar?
I was just thinking
No, my go-to is Rebel Yell.
That's a good one.
So,
All right. Well, maybe you'll have to at some point.
yeah, I might have
Maybe
to.
on the after show. All right. Dan Murrell on the couch at Murrell Dan.
How about them Royals?
Excited for New Orleans?
Richard's dad.
I'm excited for New Orleans. Oh, yeah, there we go. Howard Stern. There
Yes, you got it. You got it.
I am excited for New Orleans. I hope to see some of the people that are watching right now on Saturday. We're going to have a great time.
Yes.
And I want to shout out to Oliver Pingilly. I hope I pronounced his name correctly. He's in the UK. He's staying up late with his pregnant wife and watching our show. So, hi, Oliver. Thank
Hello,
you for
Oliver.
watching.
Hopefully you can stay tuned, watch them after the fight. JT in the booth, Ken, Ryan, everybody, thanks for being here. Follow me on Twitter, Instagram, and Andy Signore. And stay tuned if you're on Screen Junkies Plus or ScreenJunkies.com. You can watch After the Fight's up next, and we'll talk some more. Thanks, everybody, for watching. Bye-bye.
Woo!
Every podcast we put on YouTube comes with this kick-ass graphic listing all the topics your favorite Screen Junkies podcasters are talking about. If you click the topics, you can skip around and choose your own podcast battle royale. Go ahead, try them all. If you haven't already, subscribe to Screen Junkies on YouTube to join us for future fights. Or if you prefer to listen on iTunes, click the logo to download an audio version.